Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's session Accelerating Your Cybersecurity Career in Today's IT Ecosystem. I'm Shilpa Goswami, and I'll be your host for the day. We would like to go over a few house rules for our attendees. The session will be in listen only mode and will last for an hour, out of which the last 10 minutes will be dedicated to Q&A. If you have any questions during the webinar to organizers or our speakers, use the Q&A window. Also, if you face any audio video challenges, please check your internet connections or you may log out and log in again. An important announcement for a certificate of attendance. Participants need to attend the complete webinar to qualify for the certificate. Also, should fill in the survey form which will be sent in the attendees thank you mail and answer correctly the three multiple choice questions. Based on the webinar, the certificate of attendance shall be sent to you within the next 5 to 7 working days after the event. Our speaker for today's session, Dr. Bright Mavodar. He is a Chief Technology Officer at Zetova. He is the founder of Cybersecurity Collective Africa Hackon, the first ever live demonstration cybersecurity conference in East and Central Africa. He holds a PhD in IT convergence and application engineering with a focus on information security from Ukyong National University, South Korea. Dr. Mawada has over 10 years of experience in the cybersecurity industry with strong expertise in cybersecurity strategy building, resilience, and system penetration testing. Technically proficient and skilled in cybersecurity. He is a team player and an outstanding leader who has successfully implemented IT security systems to curb and mitigate risk. In addition to presenting at over 150 cybersecurity conferences, Dr. Mawada has been recognized by Tribe of Hackers Blue Team 2020. It was named one of Kenya's top 40 under 40 by Business Daily and has led cybersecurity projects at Dimension Data, Cellulent, and Ushahidi. Without any further delay, I would hand over the session to you, Bright.
All right, thank you so much, Shilpa. So welcome everybody. I'd like to tie myself to this presentation. Yeah, so this is my second time with the EC Council University webinar, and I'm happy to be able to have all of you here. Like I said, number of attendees already in. So today we're going to be talking about a very interesting topic that a lot of people get confused about. And I get this question every single week. What can I do to get into cybersecurity? So what's the way to accelerate your career when it comes to cybersecurity in the kind of ecosystem that we have right now? So I'm going to take you through a few things. It will be quite of a short presentation, so I will have time for you to have your Q&As. So please do engage. Today is the first time I'm not going to do. This is my presentation, my cybersecurity presentation 200. The 200th presentation that I'm doing when it comes to cybersecurity, and I'm glad that it's on this platform, as we can see. So some statistics when it comes to when I was getting statistics from everywhere, and it was showing this evident that there's a very big skill gap when it comes to cybersecurity, with unemployment growth rate of 31% compared to the 4% average growth rate for occupations. This is one of the areas that is the 10th fastest growing occupation for the next decade. So that means everybody's going to actually look for a cybersecurity engineer. Every organization is going to need one kind of a skill set when it comes to cybersecurity. So every IT position they can be looking for, cybersecurity seems to be a little bit part of it, and that is where we need to start moving to. I know there are other kind of domains that are out there when it comes to IT, but cybersecurity will always be part of it one way or the other. So there's so many sectors of cybersecurity career, and people think it's all about technical commands where you have to do click, 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 and type commands, and everything you see there, they say I'm in. No, cybersecurity as a career has so many facets, has so many sectors for you to get into. So it's not all about being able to be technical and be able to type commands and type really fast and everything. In fact, there's some people who I know who are really technical, but they don't know how to type fast, and they don't have to be on a green screen. So There's security awareness and culture engineer. There are people who basically just do awareness training. They get to be able to promote culture in an organization. They go to talk about a particular product. I know there's a guy I did a presentation with some time back in South Africa. This person, he is an ambassador to that particular product, and he was being paid, I think, almost 150,000 US dollars a year. 150,000 US dollars a year just to talk about cybersecurity. And his job is just basically how can he create awareness for that particular platform? How can he get to go to places? His job is traveling, so that's the difficult part. Traveling, everything paid for, 5-star hotels. I mean, elite kind of Ubers if he has to use, and basically all he has to do is talk about cybersecurity and awareness and the tools that the product that he's representing. He doesn't even have to be the person doing the main presentation. Like at that time in South Africa, I was doing the main presentation. He just did a whole intro. So same slides. If anything changes, maybe one or two is there. We have people who are policy writers. Every organization right now need a policy. They need to be able to actually have that policy as a control to be able to govern some of the things they do. So there is those gap that is there, and policy writers is actually a very big business right now. Where I sit right now in Kenya, it's a big business. People just write policies, they copy, paste, edit, and fine tune it to the company that they're actually working for. We have governance, risk, and compliance, big area. We are seeing GDPR being a very big part of it. We've seen data protection impact assessment to be done for organizations. Governance, risk, and compliance is a huge area. People are being paid really well for that. We have cybersecurity project managers. You cannot just think about cybersecurity and not think about people who can actually manage a process. So, typical example, you want to implement a particular solution or process or tools or implementations or even doing a pen test for a company. If you're going to do that, you need a project manager who can manage that from end to end. Otherwise, you miss out one thing, you miss an element, and the people who do this as their day-to-day jobs, they watch how people can actually implement cybersecurity tools, strategy, processes in an organization end to end because they understand those details. So there's certain things you might want to learn or have an idea about before you become a project manager. We have people who are product managers. A product manager for cybersecurity basically understand a particular tool, understand the market, understand the details of what customers need or people need, and then goes to take back to the organizations to revamp. Let's talk about an antivirus. A few years ago, antiviruses were just looking at heuristics. They're looking at signatures. If the signature has not been detected, nobody's going to actually find out. But sorry. But if you look at a product manager for antivirus companies, they started having product managers who start thinking like, wait, we are seeing that antiviruses are being bypassed and we need to actually start thinking of how we're going to scan them. Back in the day, you can only scan a computer, you can scan a flash disk, but now you can scan any cloud instance or anything that gets to be done, to be downloaded to the computer. Drive-by downloads. There was no browser scanning, but these days, antiviruses, antimalware solutions have been able to scan browser tools all the way to getting to be able to scan mobiles. So, for example, I have Windows Defender on my. I was able to put Windows Defender on my phone, which is able to scan my browser activities at the same time malwares that get to download to the computer. So they get to help to revamp. EDR solutions were never a thing. Right now, EDR is part of organization processes that they want to have. We have data protection officers when it comes to data protection office, so impact assessments, how to be able to know what data people are collecting, what is confidential, what is being, what is the PII being incorporated. That's a whole job. It's a full-time thing. Technical content creators. There's some people who just write about cybersecurity incidences. If you look at all the news that is out there, there's no one person who is doing a pen test, a penetration testing or vulnerability assessment, at the same time coming back into the company to write the technical details. I write once in a while, but it takes me a long time. If you ask Shilpa, our host today, she can tell you it took me so much time to write one of the articles that I wrote for threat intelligence for EC Council. You can check it out on the EC Council blog. And it took me a while because that's not my full-time job. But there's some people who are technical content creators, so they must have read or have details about what cybersecurity is. They're able to translate all of those into layman for anybody to read and understand, and then they write. So it can be for a news website, it can be for a news station. There are people who actually report on this every day, and that's their life on YouTube and the likes. Customer success manager, you have product or services to give it to a client. If you don't have a cybersecurity customer success manager, you will not know what the client is or what they need or what they have and what else they might need. So in a sales kind of position, you might have something like that. You have sales engineers who, there are people who are salespeople. They can sell whatever it is to a customer, but if you don't have an engineer to understand what kind of firewall they need, what kind of EDR solution they need, you'll go and sell everything. I have seen so many organizations do that, and it's just ridiculous. They go sell an EDR, tomorrow they go sell threat intelligence when they haven't even cleaned up the network. They go sell everything. It doesn't work. So technical writer is very similar as the content creator. They're content creators. There's some people who create content for cybersecurity by saying, this is a new EDR, this is a new vulnerability that are out there, but there's a technical writer who can write about it. So you see, there's so many avenues for you to branch into when it's cybersecurity, it comes to cybersecurity. If you look at all of these people, majority of these people don't even need to know coding. You don't even need to have, but basic coding practices, understanding basic coding is really important. Why? It gives you that whole basic knowledge of what to do. Now, technical roles have a starting point and eventually lead to managerial roles that does not involve every day of typing commands. Sometimes where I am right now, there's sometimes I love to still type my technical commands, but it gets to a point. My former boss sometime back told me, you will never be a techie forever. So it depends. You think that every day you're going to be typing commands, a time will come you will not be the person to type those commands. You might be the person who is going to just be writing proposals, for example, the person who's trying to do implementation. So there's a junior role, you can get to mid-level, top level, and it has many dynamics as part of it. So if you look at junior roles, it can come from $80,000 to $100,000 a year. Where it's information security analyst, a specialist, a digital forensic examiner, an IT auditor. I think you'll find a lot of auditors when it comes to the big fours, big four organizations, you know which I'm talking about, where you find a lot of auditors going to figure out what controls are there for a company, and are they really there? What's the evidence? So there's mid-level security system administrator, a penetration tester, security engineer, architect, cryptography engineer, and cybersecurity manager. When you get to the manager position, that means you understand some of the basic of things to be done, and you can actually earn 100,000 to 120,000. And the last part, which is the top level, is being a CISO, a security architect, security engineer, a cybersecurity engineer of a different level, can be to a particular domain. You're looking at manual analyst, pen tester, or red teamer, computer forensic analyst. However, don't look at these numbers and be fooled thinking that's how it is worldwide. This is to certain areas. This is actually according to the United States. So if you're in the United States where there's a different kind of cost of living, this could be the ways that you'd be looking at being compensated. So the numbers here I put there is generic as to what I got on the internet, and this was particularly to the United States and then on Australia. So, but the cost of living differs. So from place to place, don't go thinking this is how much you're supposed to get or supposed to match for you when it comes to cybersecurity everywhere you go. In Kenya, it's different. In Ghana, it's different. In India, very different. If you go to UK, same thing is different because of the kind of cost of living that comes with it. Most of this skill set or these titles or this kind of roles that you're seeing here must require some of the basic skills that you need. You need an IT experience. IT experience, I'm talking about being able to know basic systems and basic networks. And by basic systems and basic networks, I'm telling you that you know how networks actually work. By the way, how to clip an RJ45 cable is basic. How does one computer connect to the other? Basic knowledge. All of those things are necessary for you to have if you're looking at cybersecurity as a career. You need basic IT. So if you don't want to get the basic IT, it can become difficult to get into some of the technical roles. If you look at the other roles, fine, it might not need IT knowledge or background, but you still can be able to get into those. But if you look at technical roles, for most part of cybersecurity, if you want to get top level, you might need to be have some IT experience. Some people at the top level where they are policymakers or policy and governance compliance, and they speak at the UN or speak at the high level for CISOs, but not CISOs, but governance and compliance, and they don't have any IT experience. It happens. I've seen it happen. So this is just some of the things that I'm telling you about. Incident management, you need to be able to understand it's the basic incident management, supervisory skills that are needed, that you know how to be able to manage a team. You need a business expertise in this application. If you don't understand how a business works, what is the P&L, for example? You need to understand what is a profit and loss. How does a business start? How does a business operate? What is the communication channel from one person to the other? Excuse me, on various levels, escalation matrices. You have to start thinking about that. Strong communication and presentation skills is really necessary. If you know how to see a report, but you cannot communicate that report to the management or a layman, then you're going to miss out on so many roles in the future. That's when I'm telling them do this presentation. It took me, this is the 200th presentation that I can remember, but it took me a journey. I just didn't wake up and started speaking. But the first few days, I was stammering. I could not speak. I was sweating. I couldn't think of how I'm going to speak in front of people. But here's the case: I'm talking to hundreds of people online without necessarily flinching. It's a basic thing for me now, and it's a necessary skills that you need to start building. How to start that? Start talking to your peers, start talking to your family, start talking to people who are around you, you're comfortable with. They keep on growing to places that you're not comfortable, crowds that you're not comfortable, first time crowds, for example, where you get to study a room, get to see how exactly you can communicate to people before you start having that. And strong communication and presentation skills is not just about talking. It's also about how do you write. How do you write those basic details down? Reports are communicable to somebody who is of a different level in the organization or a client. You need a basic understanding of risk management. I can't stress on that enough. You need to understand what is the risk, how do you manage those risks, and there's so many courses online for you to be able to do that. So what do I need to get started? Operating system fundamentals. What is a basic operating system? Linux, operating system, Windows. You need networking basics, programming basics like HTML, CSS, language is always needed for you to understand the basics of cybersecurity. It gets to help you. If you're going to be a technical person, or even if you're not going to be a technical person, I sometimes encourage people to have basic understanding of Linux operating system. Why? A lot of things that you're going to do or tools that you want to use, which are in Python or Ruby or Lua or whatever it is, will be running easily on Linux operating system. And if you have Linux at your fingertips, it's good. You can forget sometimes, but it's good to just keep on practicing to use them. Cloud security basics. There are so many cloud systems right now, and everything is on cloud, from your hosting services to Active Directory to command and control centers to scanning solutions are all in the cloud. You need to be able to have those basic skills, and the tools and the tutorials are there at very, very cheap and affordable rates. So again, this is the one thing I tell everybody when it comes to cybersecurity. Practice, 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 practice. You cannot succeed in this particular entity if you don't practice enough. So you might practice in safe environments. You don't want to go start attacking publicly available organizations and then try to exploit them. You might be going, not might be, you will be going against the law, and you can be prosecuted for that. So please, make sure you practice in a safe environment, and there are numerous free and paid resources for you to be able to use. There's Over the Wire. That was the first few ones I ever used, where I got to learn my basic Linux operating system commands. After I knew Linux, I had to go practice to see how can I do a little bit of capture the flag challenges over the wire. Under the Wire is for PowerShell and Windows operating system. There's VulnHub. You'll find so many vulnerable machines that you can download into your virtual environment and try it out. The machines are many, and the good thing about VulnHub I love, when I started with VulnHub, what I used to do was the first few machines from Metaspectable 1, 2, 3, there's Key of Tricks, and there are many of them. They all had walkthroughs. So I used the walkthroughs to know what tools can I use to scan. Unicorn Scan, Nmap, name them. fears, if I have to do DNS. So there are all of those kind of things that are there. And I got to learn those commands. And the more you go, you kept on realizing that the commands are repetitive. You get to understand how to basically use them a lot more. There's Metasploitable 1, 2 to 1 to 4, has different levels, has normal, how do you call it, exploitation of databases, systems. You get them. There's DVWA, OWASP, Just Shop. There's Let's Defend for if you want to learn threat intelligence. They give you so many kind of trials of things that you want to do that you can learn how to be able to exploit. There's Try Hack Me, there's Hack the Box. There's so many free tools out there and safe enough for you to be able to actually practice. But you will need to actually, I tell people, if you're going to put some of these details on your CV, you stand a better chance of getting better jobs in the future. So it's good to be able to put some of these details of you try Metasploitable 1 to 4, Valve Hub machines, or whatever it is, which is pertaining to Windows operating system and Active Directory for Linux or database exploitation, and you put that as a category. If you don't do that, nobody's going to know exactly how good you are in the various sectors or with various domains of cybersecurity. So please, if you try these boxes, if OWASP Just Shop is to do with web applications, put web application exploitation and put the labs that you've tried. If you're an entry level and you're trying to look for a job, those things go a very long way for you to be able to be recognized. So certification courses are there. We have Certified Ethical Hacker, the most popular from EC Council, you know. There's EJPT, PMPT. There's OSCP, which is a little bit more difficult, but you can go up the ladder with the different levels for you to be able to get comfortable with. So explore those, get to understand which one works for you, and get to understand the basics. CEH back in the day was a lot more multiple choice questions, but right now it's so practical and technical. I love it. The revamp that they've done by EC Council was really amazing. So every time I see this, I changed this presentation not long ago. Every time I'm browsing somewhere on Instagram or Twitter, I keep on seeing Code Red. So I start to look at it and I'm like, wow, Code Red is basically getting the cheapest, not cheapest, affordable rate for courses, $1.99. That's basically a coffee that you guys buy or water some places in some part of the world, where you have basics to pro level of certification. If you go to that website, you'll find so many courses and you get certificates for being able to actually do this. And you can attach that to your CVs as well. So you can learn penetration testing, Android security, threat intelligence, forensic investigation, identity and access management. People specialize in some of those details. So there are pocket-friendly courses available. Please go look for Code Red from EC Council and you'll be able to actually get a lot of free, not free courses, affordable courses that can take you from basic level to pro level. The difference between this and be able to get the free labs is the fact that you get certifications for this and you can actually use to prove that you're actually good at what you do. So I encourage anybody to be able to search this. When the presentation is shared, you can click on the link to go directly to it if you haven't. So there are things that you need to know. Sorry, I'm just trying to time myself. There are things that you need to know. You are going to fail in certain areas of cybersecurity. I have failed enough times when I'm doing my presentations. There are days I start something online, offline, it works. Moment I get online, everything fails, and I'm in front of hundreds of people that I don't know what to do. I either have started a process that is running still. I forgot to restart my machine. I forgot an IP address, or IP address has changed when I did my when I tried to share my phone, how do you call it, internet. Things fail, or things fail in even the things that I want to learn. I'm not the best coder. Trust me, when I want to talking about coding, I know how to create a WordPress website. Basic Bash scripting or Python scripting is good, but I'm not the best. So I try to see how can I know I have failed in so many of those. Yet some of my mentees right now who are 17 years old are really good at Python. It's amazing. I can't stress on how good they are enough. So everybody's good at something, but you are going to fail a few times in certain areas and just expect that. Nothing makes sense at the beginning because there's over information. Right now, I say it's a blessing that anybody who is starting in cybersecurity right now has access to so much information that they're spoiled for choice. Back in the day, I had to go. The WhatsApp of those days was IRC chat rooms, on email lists that people need to share a few information here and there. You can't trust what link they even send you, because once you click on them, you might get arrested or might get a malware to your phone. I got arrested before just because I tried to join an IRC chat room where they say, ping this IP address, type hping3 and put the IP address. I didn't know we're doing a DDoS of one of the Google servers. They came for me. It was quite bad. So you can actually make mistakes just because you are doing the wrong information. But right now you have access to all of this information, cheap courses, again, not cheap, because cheap is relative, well priced and relatively priced courses that are there, free information, free labs. You just have to download a virtual machine. It's easy as that. You can easily get rusted in a few months if you don't have consistency. That is the key to success when it comes to cybersecurity. If I don't touch a Linux operating system for some time, I have a Linux operating system here, which I'm using. If I don't touch a Linux operating system in a week, I feel like there's something missing in my life. Because right now, the kind of work that I do is a lot more managerial and a bit more diagram drawing, politics, getting to understand those things. But if I don't get my hands dirty to the few technical details, I basically get to lose a lot. So you need to be able to actually be consistent when it comes to cybersecurity or the domain you're learning. Don't rush, please. Do not rush. Take your time to learn something one at a time. You'll see other people who have gone way ahead of you in certain areas, or you too might have started, but everybody have a different path. If you want to follow everybody's path the same way, so when people tell me, how can I become like you, Dr. Bright? I'm like, Dr. Bright is a different person. Right now, my life is about family and the likes. Some people have a lot more time than me, and it's not the same. So you have to choose your path and your pace as where you have to a self-paced, guided way of being able to learn. It can be overwhelming when taking this path alone. So it's very advisable to join communities and groups. Here in Kenya, we do Africa Hackon meetups every end of the month, and we have WhatsApp groups that we're part of. It's very difficult to get into the WhatsApp groups, and if you ever get into the WhatsApp groups and you don't speak for 2 weeks, you get kicked out automatically. An automated script is run by the administrators, which will kick you out, and there's no question about that. You have to take about a month before you can be allowed in again. So it analyzes the kind of chat, the group engagement. If you're below a particular threshold, you get kicked out. It's not a manual. So those are some of the things that we're looking at when it comes to communities. Form groups, talk to your friends, get to meet up. There was one doctor that I was training in cybersecurity and basic understanding of cybersecurity. We started last year. He's like, look, I'm not ready. I'll come back. A year later, he came back. It's called Dr. Norman. I shared that on LinkedIn some time back, actually. He started the basics on WhatsApp, just chit chat. He's so aggressive. He forms his own groups of 2 or 3 people every other week. So if he identifies somebody at the meetups or online, say, can we meet? They talk, they chit chat, he gets to learn. And that's just how amazing it has become for him, a medical doctor, to become a cybersecurity engineer in 3 months. Have a partner who is starting like you or even more advanced, someone ready to share if they have the time. I tell people sometimes, they're like, mentor me, and I'm like, I don't have the time, or I don't always have the time to be able to mentor somebody from 0 to 100. So I share resources. I do want to blog about this. I share resources, I share links. I said, go read and come back. If somebody's not curious enough to be able to do a basic search or basic detail about finding out what does it take to start in cybersecurity, and you come to me, I will tell you, you know what, I can't help you. Today, somebody sent me a message and he was like, how do you install a firewall? And I said, you haven't even Googled that. Go search. So that's the next thing I said, Google the bare minimum as to how to get into cybersecurity or an area that you don't understand before you come to somebody who is willing to share and learn. And those who are experts here, if you are good in a particular area, please share, because the more you share, the more you get to learn, when or if you have the time to be able to do that. Everybody have their burdens and things they're doing, so I don't expect everybody to necessarily have the time to be able to guide somebody, handhold, and spoon feed. Spoon feeding is the worst thing that can ever happen when it comes to cybersecurity as a career. But you can get guidance and somebody can be able to help. Sometimes I get an oversight and I forget that I'm actually trying to help somebody. And because I get overwhelmed, I have my life to live, I have other things going on. So it's not that easy. And I feel like that happens to a lot of people who are also experts in certain areas and want to share. So follow blogs, look at news groups. When I type Google cybersecurity news on Google on my Android phone, now when I just swipe to the left, I see a lot of news that is out there that people are sharing. I get to understand what is going on. What is the latest exploitation? What is the Uber hack all about? How can I get to understand exactly how not to fall for the same Uber hack in an organization? How can I go train my colleagues about the same thing that can happen to them? Look at Twitter, look at LinkedIn. There's so many great resources and people to follow. If you follow me on Twitter, for example, I keep on reposting and resharing other kind of tweets that I find of various tools, of various news, of various processes that I think is interesting. At the same time, I can learn. I see tools there, I copy, I send it to myself. I copy, I send it to myself because I want to try them out at a point in time when I have some time. Because if you're starting off or trying to be able to learn some of these things, spend about 2 to 4 hours a day on the various materials and tutorials you can have, and please take notes. A lot of people do that, but they don't take notes. So what happens? They eventually forget everything they're trying to do. I teach a master's class for cybersecurity at one of the universities in Kenya called Strathmore University. And in my penetration testing class, my students know there's no note. I'm not going to give you any note. The note I'm giving you is what I'm typing on the screen. So everything, I don't give slides to go read because it's a very practical class. You need to be able to keep up. And if you don't keep up, the most I'll do is to share a link. So if you don't copy that link and the class has ended, that's it. People sometimes say, oh, we record and come to watch. Those of you who are here are privileged to be able to actually get all those details at once. People to watch later, sometimes you might not have the flexibility to be able to watch. Set up a virtual environment, VMware, VirtualBox, Oracle, whatever it is, and practice. These labs, add this lab to your CV, just like I said before. There are numerous Telegram groups, WhatsApp groups. If they are noisy and they're not adding value to you and you feel like there's too much noise out there, please leave. Just get out. If you feel that's not going to help you, just leave that group because there's too much noise. I have been part of some WhatsApp groups and I don't feel like I'm getting value. I leave because I'm not getting anything. You can teach or talk about what you've learned. Do it as it gives you more experience. I'm pretty good at when it comes to open source intelligence and running a few commands. For the fact that I know how to do that, I can teach anybody else and do it for my presentations, which I like. So it's really important for you to be able to actually teach somebody when you learn the bare minimum. My mentees come teach me things and I get to learn from them. Why? It's because they're really good at that particular domain. And this field is too wide. It's crazy wide. You cannot know everything. So it's good to basically get to be able to talk about what you know, teach other people if you learn the bare minimum, even if it's one command. One of my mentees right now at the office, he basically comes to show me new tools for cloud security. And I'm like, wow, I didn't know about this one. I get to learn. So it's good to be able to share the little that you know. Now, the big elephant in the room, entrepreneurship and employment. I'll try to keep this very short on this one. I didn't want to put a lot of points because it's such a wide topic and I'll just give the bare minimum. Everybody who gets to become very good at cybersecurity these days want to go into entrepreneurship. I have tried, I've done it a few times. I still do it once in a while, but sometimes you need certain skills that not everything will have. It's capital intensive at a point in time because you're not going to do a pen test for forever. You might be lucky to be in an area where everybody needs a pen test. You might be in an area where everybody needs a vulnerability management. You might be in an area where people need governance, risk, and compliance. But remember, all of those take time. All of those, you can do it for some time, for 2 weeks for a pen test. They'll get to pay you after 2 months or 3 months. So it might not be sustainable in certain areas or certain times. However, sometimes you can be in employment and be able to actually make good money out of cybersecurity as the kind of practice that is specific to what you need or what the company needs, and you're doing that, and it can pay you pretty well. So you have to choose which one works for you because of the area where you are at as well. So entrepreneurship is nice. A lot of people are running businesses, they get funded. People are selling tools they've created, people are selling tutorials they've created, and they're making money out of it. So the entrepreneurship aspect of things come in various formats. Choose what works for you and be able to know that the cash can come in, the money can come in later, or it could be so good that somebody is paying you consistently a monthly recurring revenue for the services that you're rendering. I've seen people who've gone from employment to entrepreneurship. I've seen people who go from entrepreneurship to employment. I've seen people like me who do both. I can do both. And they're both, I'm talking about, sometimes I do speaking events and I get paid for it. And it works for me. So I have a lineup like this October, I have a lineup of talks. Some are free, some are paid. I can't do everything, but it's part of my entrepreneurship journey. Somebody will come to me and say they want a pen test, quick money. Sometimes the pen test is so big, I have to get an extra help to be able to do that, and I have to pay that person as a subcontractor, but the contract is with me. But again, when it comes to employment, you have consistent income. So if you can do both, fine. It burns out a lot. To be honest, I get burnt out sometimes. Like right now, I'm really exhausted because I'm doing a lot of things, and it happens. So you need to be able to choose. So various factors to this is really important for you to know. So that's it from me. I think, like I said, it's a very short session, and I just want to be able to share what I know or the journey that I have seen so far and what has taken me to become what I'm doing right now. And I'll welcome questions. So over back to you, Shilpa. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Bright, for an informative session, and our attendees share the same sentiments. If you're interested to learn more about our programs, do let us know in the poll that's going to be conducted now. Dr. Bright, shall we start with the Q&A?
Yes, we can start.
Okay. So our first question is by Mahesh Girish. Uh, I am a CCNA from CEH version 11 and currently working on CISA. But right now I am working as an IT manager, but I really want to get into cybersecurity. Kindly advise on how to start.
So you're very lucky to be able to have CCNA. That means networking is really good for you. You can start looking at the various paths that will lead you into maybe becoming a network security engineer. So look at cloud security. Look at, because everything is a virtual thing right now. Look at threat intelligence, being a SOC analyst, security operations center analyst. You might at a little bit of advanced level for you to understand what it takes to be in cybersecurity. So that would be my advice to you there.
Thank you so much, Dr. Bright, for answering that question. Mahesh, I hope he have answered your question. Our next question is by Sammy. I have been able to learn Linux administration, CEH and CCNA, and I work in a telecommunication company. But my greatest need is to attain fluency in security through learning in a lab. How is it possible for me to learn at EC Council University? I'm from Kenya.
Okay, just a second. So to learn from Kenya, I don't know if you're in Kenya, but if you're in Kenya, the communities are there. Africa Hackon organizes a lot of workshops and sessions where we train people on cybersecurity for free. So look out for those sessions, be able to join them, or if you are in Kenya and you're part of the Kenyan groups, you can reach out to me to add you. But again, it's pretty easy. You already have those skill sets. EC Council, the Code Red program is there. Do check it out and see this kind of skill level that you need to start from, and you'll be able to actually join.
Thank you, Dr. Bright, for answering that question. Our next question is by Chuka Gerald. Is it advisable to go for masters in cybersecurity or get different certifications?
So when I was doing my master's, I thought, oh, this is craziness. Why am I doing a master's in cybersecurity? But I did an interdisciplinary course, which basically allowed me to learn everything cybersecurity at the same time, other kind of areas. It is advisable for you to go for masters. And masters is basically you trying to apply some of the learnings and things that you want to try out in the future. PhD that I did was research based, but I knew what I wanted to research on because of a curious mind of what I think I want to solve in the future, and theoretically and practically. Luckily for me, I was able to do both. I was able to do the theory part, say this is possible, and in the near future it's going to be possible to do this, but also I was able to do the practical bit of it. So I did experiments, a few hacking here and there, responsible disclosures. So it depends on what you want to do, but I would say it's advisable. It kind of gives an edge when you're doing applications, job applications, certain places. So that I would advise you to take it up.
Thank you for answering that question. Next question is by Anjali Mehta. Can we apply remote work for compliance in foreign countries? If we can, then can you suggest something? What kind of preparation will work for hired?
For compliance as a work, remote work,
Yeah,
what was the question
remote work for
again?
compliance. Yeah. Can we apply remote work for compliance in foreign countries? If we
Yeah,
can, then can you please suggest something? What kind of preparation she needs to do for hiring?
yeah. So let me tell you something when it comes to compliance. My first few job, or when I bought my first car, was for me doing cybersecurity compliance. I had no idea what to do, or rather, I had an idea, but I did not really practically do it. And it was a very big company. I'll not mention which one for compliance sake, for confidentiality's sake. What I was doing was reviewing the policies, the governance and controls of the document, of the policies, and I basically just gave recommendations of what to do. Guess what? I got paid, I think, almost $7,000 or $8,000 for a 1 month job, and I was doing only 2 or 3 hours a day. Um, 3 hours a day, sometimes on and off, it depends. And that's because I basically started writing about that online. So LinkedIn is really powerful. If you have Medium or if you have whatever it is, those are powerful enough to be able to advertise for exactly what you do. So if you're good at compliance and there's a news about compliance and the likes, or there's news about GDPR or data leakage, privacy and everything, write about it. Write your opinion about certain kind of those things, because somebody will watch you, somebody's looking at you, they give you jobs. Just before this webinar started, somebody reached out to me, an old friend on Instagram, reached out and said, hey, it's a company who does their consultancy and they need somebody to do a few pen tests. And each pen test is so basic and so small. It's about $500, no, 500 euros. I said, hey, why not? It's something I can do in 30 minutes for 500 euros. That's not bad. And this person is like, yeah. So simple jobs, one portal. This company, all they do is basically look for talent and be able to give them small jobs to do. They spread it out. So it's something I would say. Write about it. You will be identified, or talk to organizations that do this, and you can consult for them as a part-time. And it's all remote. You're not going there. Half of the job that we do for compliance is never physically present.
Thank you, Dr. Bright, for answering that question. Our next question is by Datatre. What would be the path to become a CISO?
Just as I shared before, let me share my screen. Let me know if you can see my screen.
Yes, I can. We can see your
Yeah.
screen.
So I have been a CISO. I have been a virtual CISO for a lot of organizations, and like I was not making this much money, so don't think so. But to become a CISO, I had to do basic information security analyst. I was a specialist. I did basic, really basic forensic engineering, IT audit. I've done a few of those. Pen testing, I had done. System security administrator, basic of it, I've done. Being an engineer, understanding how to be able to connect cloud systems or even network systems at the time, I did. Cryptography, no. Being a manager, I did. Red teaming, basic of it. Malware analysis, never. I can see a malware, but I'm not a good person when it comes to malware analysis. But all of these And being able to do what is here, I know how to be able to understand a business. I know how to do incident management and risk management, and I know how to communicate, made me to be able to do CISO, becoming a CISO, a virtual CISO for organizations easily. So it's all about being able to strategy building. So if you learn some of those basics and you know how to build strategy and a roadmap for an organization, you basically are going to win here.
Thank you, Dr. Bright. Our next question is by Nay Lin. He would like to know difference between cybersecurity analyst and cybersecurity specialist.
So an analyst will basically, so they're quite closely related, but an analyst will be basically looking at vulnerability management, being able to, how do you call it, to see what is coming and what is going out. You analyze situations and be able to give recommendations and the likes, or you do vulnerability management, to scanning systems, to scanning networks, you get to tell them this is what exactly you need to do. A specialist would do certain kind of those as well, but it's a little bit more focused on specific areas. So it depends. If it's threat intelligence or trying to see network of places or what advisory you can give, you'll be able to actually do those. So they are very closely related, but slightly different.
Thank you for answering that question. Our next question is by Emmanuel from Kampala. He is asking, does EC Council have any areas in Uganda where one can study the skill sets? Also, are there possibilities of getting scholarship?
I don't know that. Maybe you can answer that. But I think you just search online if there's anything there. I think there are EC Council accredited zones for you to learn. So there's some people who are accredited to be able to teach EC Council courses. So you need to find out in your area. So just search EC Council Uganda or CEH Uganda, and you can see those who are certified and accredited to be able to teach that.
Thank you, Dr. Bright. Our next question is by I'm sorry, but we have like a lot of questions. Our next question is by Amudan. Can someone switch a career in cybersecurity without any experience by learning and completing certification in cybersecurity like CEH?
Yeah, that's true. I'll give a typical example of somebody, me. Now is when I'm trying to do certifications. I only have CPTE some time back. I even taught CEH, and I had never done CEH at the time. Later went on to do it. I didn't have the time to. I tried OSCP and I failed at the last minute. That was 2015. So I don't have a lot of certifications, but I have a lot of experience and I was able to show that to a lot of people. So some people can become good at what they do, but the thing is that was back in the day. It was expensive. It was really expensive to get certifications. There were thousands of dollars, and we did not have the chance or the money to pay for them. But now, guess what? Look at Code Red that I'm talking about. It's affordable. It's cheaper. You get certifications of even attending or being able to actually attempt the course when you pass. So I'm not saying that don't go do certifications, go do them, because right now they are readily available at a very good price, rather than looking at the expensive ones back in the day. We didn't have the chance, but you can have the chance right now. I would say go for the certifications. But you still can get a job. You can get a job when you don't have certification. So far as you can prove that you have been trying something. You set up a lab before. I was going to hire 2 people some time back for entry-level cybersecurity engineer. The one person said he had a CEH, he had OSCP, and the other person had a lot more labs that he has tried and everything. When I asked the 2 of them when I did an interview, I gave them a laptop. I said, please scan this network for basic vulnerabilities. This person with a CEH and OSCP was not able to do anything, meaning possibly he either lied about it, he didn't show a certificate, or something. The other person who did a lab before was able to do it very smoothly and everything. So it depends on exactly who it is again. Some people will lie on their CV, but sometimes you need to be able to explain better and show exactly what you do. If you've done labs and you feel like the lab was too difficult or too easy or whatever it is on whichever platform, write about it. There's a WhatsApp group in Kenya who I know, they form a group just to try labs. So it's called the Hack the Box Labs or something by a guy called Fraser. Very good job. And they just tried the different labs. The people come to present on them. They have webinars, I think almost every other day, and they just teach each other how to break those labs. There are people who actually do EC Council courses that are out there. Please go check out the EC Council Code Red. The reason why I'm stressing on it is not because I'm a board member, board of the threat intelligence for EC Council, but I've seen the courses and I see how structured they are. Having a structure will really help you to be able to achieve a certification. But if you just want to try out any lab and everything, you might miss out a thing or two. Back in the day, that's what we used to do. We didn't have guidance. They have much guidance. Now you have guidance online readily available for you to consume very easily.
Thank you so much, Dr. Bright, for answering that question. I'll take last two questions for the day. Our next question is by Naman Vajpayee. He is currently in second year electronics and communication engineering, and how can he make career in IoT security?
I'll say, like I told you, a doctor was able to do cybersecurity. You in communications can even do it much easier or faster. Follow the process. First of all, search basic understanding about it, and all of these things are in the notes that I said before. So the notes that I shared when I shared my screen. Get to understand basic IT. Get to understand basic understanding of cybersecurity. Do courses that are available for you to understand the bare minimum. Then you can now start progressing and know which area do you want to stay at. There's some people who are really good at forensic investigation, and that person who does forensic investigation cannot do a pen testing. I know guys who are really good at web and networks and the web and mobile application pen testing, but guess what? If we put them in a network to their pen testing, they can't do it. It's difficult. So everybody have their own strength, and all it takes time for you to be able to learn which area you want to get into.
Thank you, Dr. Bright. I'll take the last question. It's from Good Luck. He's a student studying software engineering, but he's passionate about CS. He has CCNA certificate and he have learned a lot online. So what would be his next step?
It depends exactly what he wants to do. I mean, it's next steps. I tell sometimes people tell me what's the next step for me to do. I can't really define the path for everybody. So like I said, read, explore, read, explore. If you don't read about some of the various areas and details of what will work best for the kind of career you've already started, you're not going to get the right answer. You can ask anybody right now, can I go do computer science? Look, computer science is nice. You need to do computer engineering. You need to learn, all of them, they're going to have something common. Basic programming, basic engineering skills, basic of networking. All of those things are basics of cybersecurity. So whichever course you're going to do in university or you're doing, and you have programming skills, you're already gonna. But please read, research before you ask questions to other people. But nobody can define a straight path for you because there are too many things, even I don't know. So you need to be able to understand how to be able to define those paths by reading, researching. Don't expect spoon feeding. If you come to me in my DMs or wherever it is and ask for, teach me cybersecurity, I get that every day. I don't know what to answer. I tell people, go research and come back. If you research and come back and say, this is what I have done, this is what I'm trying to learn, this is where I'm stuck, then I can help you out. One of the youngest mentees I told is 17 years old. That's what he did. He came to my Instagram and said, I tried to learn cybersecurity. I've read enough about it. This was when he was, I think, 14 or 15. He said, I've tried Hack the Box, I've tried this, I've tried this course, I've tried this course, I've tried this lab, I've tried to learn how to do basic Python, and no, I need direction. There I was like, oh, okay, you know A, B, C, D, go try this lab, go do this, go try this course. I even paid for you to do one of the courses. I even gave him one of the some vouchers recently to do some courses. Why? Because he's put in the effort. If you don't put in the effort and you come to somebody to help you get a path on cybersecurity, you're really going to fail. So please read before you come back.
Attendees share the same sentiments. Thank you, again to a wonderful speaker and great presentation and knowledge shared with our global audiences. It was a pleasure to have you with us, and we are looking for more and more sessions with you. Before we
Thank you.
conclude the webinar, Dr. Wright, would you like to give a small message to our audiences?
I will say that the world is open right now to opportunities. We are actually, I mean, anything you want to learn, you can learn it. You just have to plan time, plan yourself, and be able to try